Good evening, folks. Welcome to the NCAA Regionals Reaction Recap Show. Tonight, it is just me and Reed Tobin. Reed, me and you were boots on the ground in Chapel Hill this weekend. What was an amazing weekend, the first ever weekend that Carolina Curveball has had. Credentials for an NCAA regional was super sweet. Reed, how's it going, sir?
I'm doing well. What a weekend it was, Kason. In my life of watching college baseball, 15 or so years, I just think this weekend, something about it, all the upsets and madness this weekend that happened, I think it was the craziest that we've seen maybe ever.
It was absolutely bizarre. And Reed, we had, not trying to brag, but we had a great setup where we were, Reed. We were right above, I would say, the dugout of the away team, whoever that was. We had a nice, great setup from UNC Chapel Hill. Couldn't have been any better. And Reed, we had squeeze play on my iPad in the middle of us, so we were in hog heaven, watching some great baseball as well as watching the action around the countries. I will say, Reed, I could have been better. Reed, you paid attention to the action on squeeze play more than I did. I was pretty locked in on the games. That is how I am when I cover baseball game. I was pretty I was pretty locked in, Reed, and when ECU and Tennessee went 14 innings. You a couple times asked me to look at squeeze play, and I'm like, Reed, stop. I can't, because I was just holding my breath for that baseball game. Reed, we'll be sure to get into our time in Chapel Hill in that game a little later. But Reed, how do you want to do this show tonight? Do you want to go through the Carolina regionals and then kind of go back around
Yeah,
the country?
yeah, we can touch on the Carolina regionals first, and then we can work our way around nationally. But yeah, your iPad was a lifesaver this weekend.
Absolutely. And Reed, let's go ahead and start. I have the bracket pulled up. I'm going to start in Morgantown. Wake Forest was eliminated Sunday morning in the losers bracket game. Reed, they lose to Kentucky. I'm not sure I remember watching the first game with you on Squeeze Play, but versus Kentucky, was it not close? It was 6-5.
Yeah, Wake was up. They had the early lead there, and Lavonis was dealing. He really gave them a quality start there. And then once again, the Wake bullpen, like it has most of the year, let them down. And Kentucky was able to claw their way back and win that game to send Wake to the loser bracket. And like we've said before, I mean, if you lose your first game in regional play on that Friday, you're in big trouble. I think 93% of the teams have won their first game of the regional that advanced to the supers. So losing the first game does you no favors. As I say that, look at all the teams though that lost on Friday and then are still playing though. Um, but yeah, I mean the Morgantown regional was sensational all weekend. Kentucky uh, picked off West Virginia in the 1-0 game, and then yeah, Wake was able to get a nice win there against Binghamton, and then West Virginia pretty handily took care of business against them early Sunday morning. And then those last two West Virginia Kentucky games, boy, was that a treat. With Kentucky coming back, or with West Virginia, sorry, coming back in the ninth inning on Sunday night, down to their last three outs, down three, scoring five, and then hitting the walk-off home run. And then going back to last night, West Virginia had the lead, and they blew it in the eighth there. Kentucky with back-to-back home runs, and West Virginia was able to salvage business there in the 10th, and then absolute scenes in Morgantown. When they panned to the crowds there after the game.
Yeah, they were singing Country Roads.
Country roads.
Absolutely scenes there, and I'm just happy that Kentucky did not win that.
Yeah,
Just one
yeah,
less SEC team, please.
exactly.
But Reed, we made an all-regional team. Matt Conti was on it as well as Javar Williams. Conti was 4 for 13, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs on the weekend. Also, Dalton Wentz, 6 for 12, two doubles, a home run, and RBI. And Javar Williams, 5 for 11, three doubles, a home run, and four RBIs. Reed, just this season as a whole, I would chalk it up as a disappointment for Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest has the talent to be an Omaha team. And when they were clicking at the right time, Reed, with all the pieces that they have, Lavonis, but Dallas's injury hurt them. Bagwell was up and down.
Morningstar struggled.
Morningstar was really up and down. Cade Lewis was good for them this season. Just up and down that lineup. There were guys, Andrew Costello, just up and down, but it just did not click at the right time for Walter and co. But I will say disappointing season for sure. Ever since
The
2020,
Omaha team.
2023. Yep,
Yeah.
they just have not gotten back to it. Reed, I wouldn't say this season is as big as a disappointment as it was in 24, going from number one team in the country to being the two seed in Greenville, then going 0-2. I mean, that was one of the biggest shocks in college baseball that season. But
Yeah.
Reed, they just did not click at the right time this year for Wake Forest.
Yeah, you make good points there. Yeah, just the consistency all season was never there from Wake. They'd have some really good weeks, and we'd think they were turning the corner, and then they'd follow it up with a stinker. I picked them to win this weekend in Morgantown. I thought they were starting to play some of their best baseball, but then they went 1-out in Charlotte the week before too. And losing to Kentucky, I mean, that just set them up on Friday, set them up for failure. Like you said, though, besides Lavonis, the pitching was just so inconsistent all season. I think that was their biggest downfall. I did see Morningstar already enter the portal today.
Yes, Morningstar did enter the portal, and I also want to touch on us here at Carolina Curveball. We're going to cover the portal pretty hard, unlike we did last year. So we're not going to get too much into portal talk the next 2 weeks because of all the baseball left, and Carolina is still playing. We're definitely going to touch on the portal, but we're going to have a few shows this summer, really breaking down the portal, guys going in and out. So we will definitely keep you posted on that. Reed, there were a whole bunch of guys enter the portal today. Thorndike, Michael Clinch from ECU, Thorndike from Coastal. Charlotte's whole team seemed to enter the portal last week.
Yeah.
But Reed, it's just going to continue at this point.
Yeah, like you said, let's not get too much into portal talk. I mean, we could spend a whole show pretty much talking about it. I mean, it's going to happen, though. It's how the sport is now. But yeah, let's move to the next Carolina Regional.
Absolutely. And Reed, the next Carolina Regional is the one that me and you were attending, the Chapel Hill Regional. Reed, just what an absolute time. And Reed, before we get into the actual regional, I want to ask you about your experience, Reed. I've been grateful to have the chance to cover NCAA regionals before and cover college baseball for 3 years, 4 years now, 4 years now. But Reed, just talk about your experience first, going from just the absolute one of the biggest college baseball fan I know, the most knowledgeable college baseball person I know, and just your experience as a whole.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. Had an absolute blast being able to cover my first ever regional. Thank you, North Carolina, for the great hospitality all weekend too. It was absolute top notch. But just being able to be at every single game there and experience the press conferences too after the game too was just a really cool experience, and I look forward to doing it again here in the future.
Absolutely. We are looking forward to and hoping to be back in Chapel Hill this weekend, Reed,
Yeah,
as they take on USC, not
yeah.
South Carolina. You
No,
Carolina,
the real
no,
USC.
the real USC, California.
That might age
Let's
well.
relax. Let's relax. Reed, let's go ahead and kick it off here. East Carolina, Tennessee. Reed, first game of the Chapel Hill Regional, and I was on Stephen Igo's show today, Reed, and he made me choose which six regional games were the most memorable of ECU, and he went the 2009 walk off versus South Carolina, 26 20 2016, 2016 regional walk off versus Virginia that ECU had, Travis Watkins. 2021 ECU's comeback versus Charlotte in the seventh inning, and then the Hurricanes are playing,
Yeah, sorry about that.
and then in 2022 ECU versus Virginia. 2024 it was Chase Burns versus Savage, and this year Tennessee versus ECU 14 innings. But Reed, just kind of that game was unbelievable from the start.
Yeah, what a way it was to start regional weekend at noon on Friday. I mean, just the atmosphere there, all the ECU fans making their presence known. Tennessee obviously traveled really, really good too. What an entertaining game though it was. Pitchers still throughout the whole game too. Evan Blanco, he was sensational for Tennessee too. I think he went seven. Did he go 7 innings? I believe. I can't
Evan
remember.
Blanco went 7 innings. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He was
Um,
absolutely dealing.
yeah, Tennessee, they had took the early lead there. I believe in the fourth inning with the solo shot, but credit to ECU, they were able to call back to tie it immediately the following inning too, and then Ryan Towers did a really good job of getting through that game too. I told you before the game, Kason, if ECU wanted to win, Towers needed to give him a quality start, and he did. Like he had the past 7 or 8 starts, and then ECU went to Ethan Norby, and then the ninth inning fireworks happened. Davin Whitaker, he hits the go ahead home run in the top of the ninth there, and the place and the Bosch is going absolutely crazy. And then ECU's thinking they had won the game there too with 2 outs in the ninth, and the way Norby was pitching, and up steps Henry Ford and destroys that baseball. And Tennessee, they had their chances there in the 11th inning too, the 12th inning too, to win that game. ECU was able to pitch out of some really tough spots there, and then we get to the 13th inning. ECU takes the lead, and then Tennessee scores, gets one back in the bottom half there before ECU was able to hang a crooked number. But I mean, what an absolute awesome way it was to start the regional weekend.
Absolutely, and I want to touch on that the ECU game, just like you said, Reed, all those things, and the Davin Whitaker home run gets really lost in that game
Yeah, it
because
does.
Davin Whitaker's solo shot to make it 2-1. I mean that's sadly forgotten. And then when you talk about that Henry Ford home run, Reed, I really think Norby did the right thing of attacking him because, as we saw, Reed, Tennessee
Yeah,
has
he
the
was mowing
ability,
them down. Yeah.
and Tennessee has the ability to get swings off and change the game in a swing. So I think it was okay that he was not walking guys. He was hitting. He was throwing strikes, attacking guys. Because Reed, a solo shot does not kill you. It does not kill you, and it did not kill them. But giving guys freebies, free 90s, and then attacking a guy like Henry Ford, that will kill you. That would have basically ended their regional because I don't think they would have made it outside of the losers bracket in that way. But just an amazing game. And Reed, I said on Steven's show this morning that Walker Barron's home run. I mean, I thought that was Vance Honeycutt at the plate. I've not seen a
Yeah.
ball hit that hard out of that place since Vance. I mean,
Yeah, I've never
that.
seen
I
Walker
mean,
Barron hit the ball that far in my life.
I mean, Reed. I think the only other person I've seen hit a ball that hard in that park is Vance Honeycutt, and I'm not joking.
Yeah. I mean, that ball was absolutely pimped to start the 14th inning. What a moment it was. But, credit to ECU too. I think some prior teams in years past, had they given up a home run like they did in the fashion they did there in the ninth with 2 outs, 1 out away from winning, would have easily have lost that game. But I think that was just a testament for all the adversity this team has been through all season that they were able to scratch and call that victory out.
And then VCU went on to take North Carolina that night, Reed, and it was just the Ryan Lynch show. Heels 8-0 over VCU Friday night.
Yeah, it was exactly what Carolina needed. Lynch was dominant all game, only allowed 2 hits. They started fast too, immediately putting the pressure on VCU. And the fact that they didn't have to use Caden Glauber at all that night, and Walker McDuffie, just set themselves up to be in such a great position for the rest of the weekend.
McDuffie did pitch Friday night, if I'm not
No, he
mistaken.
didn't. They went to Mateus.
You sure McDuffie didn't pitch?
Sorry, he threw the 8th inning. I think he threw like
Yeah,
9 pitches though.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
Um,
was like 9 pitches, and then I think they had a crooked number there in the bottom of the 8th to blow the game open.
but then that set up VCU and Tennessee, Reed, and we were sure to get there in the morning to watch that one. And wow. I mean, what an absolute shocker. I mean, all regional pitcher Elias Holbert for VCU was absolutely nails on the mound for the Rams to eliminate them. Reed, I have it here. He was six innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 10 Ks, 100 pitches. And Zachary Peters comes in, 3 innings, 3 hits, earned run, 3 Ks. And Reed, it was just an unbelievable show of just fight from VCU. And on the flip side, Reed, me and you were there for both press conferences when Josh Elander's season ended with Reese Chapman. And I will say, I did hate it for Reese Chapman because talk about a guy that's been a major part of that program in Tennessee, was on the national championship team, and talking with Ben McKee of Vols 247, just Tony did not leave Josh in the best spot. He left on October 22nd, which is like right after fall ball is kind of getting
Yeah.
going. But I mean, the talent was there for Tennessee Reed, and it was so crazy because before the regional, Ben McKee of Vols 247 was telling me, and all over social media, the worry for Tennessee was the pitching. It was the pitching. It was what could they get from Blanco versus ECU, and Blanco was absolutely outstanding. Josh Elander made the right decision of pitching Blanco. Now, granted, Tegan Coons wakes up the next morning and he's dehydrated, sick, super sick, throwing up in between innings, super 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 dehydrated, but he gutted out and honestly pitched well. He pitched well enough
Yeah.
for them to win a game. And I think if you would have told me that Tennessee would hold VCU to 5 runs in the elimination game, I would say, "Oh, Tennessee won. Tennessee won." But no, Reed, that was not the story. And just this VCU team with a very young head coach who was a very very good interview after the game, very
Yeah.
very insightful, good guy. But just props to this VCU program, Reed, and Josh Sheeler and Tennessee. It's going to be an uphill battle. I mean, this is the first time in program history that they've gone to a regional and not won a regional game.
Yeah. I don't think many people had. I sure as hell didn't see Tennessee going 0-2. I think you did call that, or didn't you call that, Cation?
I did call it. I did.
Yeah, quite the call there from you, Cation. But yeah, I mean, absolute props to VCU. Especially how last season went for them too. They had some regional success in the years prior, like we saw in 24 too, when they upset Wake in the first game of the Greenville Regional. They upset UNC in the Chapel Hill Regional back in 2022. And then, Thompson's first year as manager last year did not go how they wanted, and they were terrible last year. But credit to him, getting the program back to where they've been in the prior years this season. And yeah, it was really cool to see them upset Tennessee.
And then that set up ECU and North Carolina on Saturday night. Reed, that was a really good game. ECU jumps on them early, jumps on DeCaro, which was a bit of a shocker considering DeCaro's 8 inning complete game shutout in Greenville. But then Reed just one bad executed pitch by Luke Payne ties it, and then Glauber just would not let the Pirates back on the board. Um, and then Jeff Sabater Magic, Michael Clinic
Yeah.
Magic was not enough, but the Heels win. on Saturday night.
Yeah, we said in our on our little reel before the game, on our little mini preview, we had if ECU wanted any chance, Luke Payne was going to have to give them some quality innings after everyone they had used the day before against Tennessee. And he was playing with fire those first few innings. Got out of some really big jams those first couple innings, and you could kind of feel the tension building in the atmosphere in the crowd when Carolina was down there in the fourth inning. Was it the fourth or the fifth when Heineck hit that home run? Yeah, the fourth.
The fourth, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, but that absolutely just changed the aspect of the game. It was a huge swing by Heineck. He absolutely crushed that ball. And then Carolina was able to take the lead the next inning, and then score three more to get a pretty decent lead. But ECU fought hard. I was proud of the effort they gave on Saturday night too. I mean, what an effort by Jeff Sabater. I mean, what a game he had. I mean, just the way he works the ball. I mean, it's not the prettiest, but he always just seems to be able to find a spot down the line every single time when he came up to the plate. This weekend too. Braden Burris was great too. Um, I think he was 3 for 3 that game too. And ECU, they were. I mean, well, first Caden Glauber was absolutely sensational. Besides giving up that triple to Sabater, which made it a little
Which
more like,
which which I think if he would have bobbled or in a bad throw, that could have been an inside the park home run with
oh,
Sabater's shoot.
without a doubt. Obviously, that bounce off the wall probably turned that into the triple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Caden Glauber, like he's been all season, I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, 4 1/3, 8 strikeouts, 3 hits. But ECU, I mean, they got the tying run to the plate there in the bottom of the ninth there because they were the home team Saturday night. And Glauber was able to, or sorry, McDuffie was able to. I thought it was interesting they brought in McDuffie for the save too, with the way Glauber was rolling and everything like that. But I'm not the coach. But yeah, I mean, Colby Wallace struck out there against McDuffie. He had a really tough weekend at the plate, but it was another very entertaining game in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I did not think that McDuffie was going to come in right there, but it
Uh,
was the right. It was not a bad decision, but I definitely thought they were going to go with Glauber the whole way. And then that set up for ECU versus VCU in the morning, and Ethan Rose pitched out of his mind. I know I was hard on Ethan Rose Reed when me and you and Steven and Philip were together, but 5 innings, 5 shutout innings was outstanding. Doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, but a lot of weak ground balls. And the Pirates win 10-0. Kalinich was on fire. Braden Burris is the best. You can make a case as the best second baseman in the entire country. He is just absolutely phenomenal. Just 10 hits versus the pitching that he faced
yeah,
is just unbelievable. Blanco, Blanco, DeCaro, um, and I will say I did think it was smart that Scott Forbes took out DeCaro on Saturday night when Braden Burris came up. Because in Burris's
yeah,
career, I saw it on Hoisted Colors. He's 4 for 5 on DeCaro in his career. So that was a
yeah.
smart
I
move by.
think I think that start back in Greenville right at the beginning of the season. I mean, when
Correct.
DeCaro
Yes.
absolutely
Yeah.
destroyed
Yeah. That's what I'm.
ECU. I
Yeah.
think I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Burris had like two of their only 3 hits the entire day.
Correct. So that set up for the rematch, North Carolina, East Carolina on Sunday night, and it was just all Tar Heels from the get go. Ryan Towers did not have his stuff. Ethan Norby was not sharp. Um, it was just a tough go at it all around. Pirates couldn't get much going on both sides, but congratulations to the Tar Heels. They earned it.
Nick Parham.
Played very very well, and it begs a whole lot of questions about East Carolina and their shortstop spot. That spot has plagued them for a long time since 2022,
Yeah.
and they have not found an answer there, Reed. Nick Parham, it begs a lot of questions of do they get out of that inning? There's a lot of questions surrounding this East Carolina team. Injuries, just Gavin. What happens when Gavin Van Campen doesn't get injured? And it really is interesting because they lost two weekend starters and their All American closer, and it really puts in perspective of like what happens if like for example, let's put it on Carolina happened this season. Like Reed, what's Carolina's season look like if they lose Jason DeCaro, Glauber, and Jackson Rose. I mean,
Yeah.
just what does their season look like? And but that's been the story of East Carolina baseball all the last 4 years, Reed.
Yeah, well, if that scenario happened in North Carolina, we'd be having a very different talk right now. But like I said, with the adversity they battled all season too, and we're not even touching on some of the injuries they had preseason too, with Braxton Thamel and some others too. But I think that's just a credit to Cliff Godwin too, the job he's did at East Carolina. Obviously, ECU fans aren't happy at the bottom. Most aren't going to be happy at the bottom of the day. They didn't get to Omaha and everything. But I mean, you look at what they had left and where they were just 3 weeks ago. Um, I mean, I'll happily take another regional title appearance. But
Seven straight regional
yeah,
finals.
yeah, which is absolutely a crazy stat. I mean, we've seen all the parity in college baseball. Not a single team from last year in Omaha to advance to a super regional this weekend for the first time ever since they started doing the format they have now. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a credit to the players though for not quitting and everything. I mean, the season was going south quickly, and they were able to recover it there in Florida, and they played their best baseball here over these last 3 weeks. I think they've got a lot to hang their head on.
Speaking of going south, Reed, the Auburn Regional, NC State 0-2. In the first game versus UCF, Reed, they let a guy hit 3 home runs in a game, which was extended to 2 days because of rain. And then Reed, they give up 2 touchdowns and a field goal to Auburn in their elimination game, lose 17-13. And tough end to the Avent era for sure. I mean, losing on a pitch clock violation was not ideal at all, Reed. So just kind of just all eyes are pointing to Hart to see what happens now, but tough way for Avent to go out, and because when Milwaukee beat Auburn, I mean, you're like, whoa,
They've
there
got a
is this
chance.
that they've got a chance. Is this fate for Avon to go out riding into the sunset, and then Auburn fights their way up through the losers bracket, beats NC State, beats UCF, and then beats Milwaukee twice, and it just is like, whoa, what in the world? And Milwaukee going 2-0, which is just absolutely bizarre. Good for them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have the wildest jerseys in college baseball. It just says MKE, which I thought was quite cool on their jerseys. But Reed, just not the ending that Avon wanted down there in Raleigh.
No, but like ECU, the pack season was derailed by injuries. Once Duda and Marone, once they lost both of them, I think many knew that it was going to be a challenge, to make any form of a deep run to Omaha this year, too. They were very fortunate to get into the tournament, and, a lot of people now probably aren't happy that they got in after what they showed. But yeah, certainly, like you said, after Milwaukee came out and shocked Auburn, we're sitting there. I was like, wow, like State might be able to get like you said, Ava in the Sun final journey. Like, wow, it's setting up. Wow, they're gonna have to beat Milwaukee. If they take care of UCF, they're gonna play Milwaukee in the 1-0 game too. Auburn's gonna have to tax a lot of their pitching and everything like that. It was certainly the opposite. Nance had his worst outing by far of the season. He was rocked. Like you said, the guy in UCF with 3 home runs. And then, Consiglio started that elimination game, and he was tattooed. I think he recorded 1 out. If
It
I
was not.
if
It was not pretty. It was not pretty.
So yeah, for the second year in a row, State is packing their bags in the Auburn regional.
Really, really unfortunate. Did not want it to happen that way, and especially on a pitch clock violation. It's just bad for the game.
Yeah.
So
At least we
just
got one more Avent rant
we
with the
did, and
with the hat
we did.
toss and
Yeah, the
one
hat
last
toss was
cuss
absolutely.
fueled rant to the umps.
The hat toss was iconic. But let's move to the Atlanta regional read, where I mean, holy shit! I mean, how about let's just take a moment here. I would say this season, the two college baseball teams you could say were above everyone else: UCLA and Georgia Tech, 1 and 2. Done, not playing anymore,
Yeah.
and just absolutely unbelievable read. Georgia Tech opens the regional, beating UIC 22-5, and everyone's like, "You can go ahead and shoo them into Omaha," and then
Yeah.
um, they then beat Oklahoma, who beat the Citadel. The Citadel with not a bad showing, going 1 and 2, hung with Oklahoma in the first game, then walks off UIC. Shout out Zach Hunt walking them off.
Yeah.
Has the
The
iconic
garden
glove
gloves.
with the garden gloves with the rubber band. Very very iconic. And their season ends versus Oklahoma. Reed. Before we get into the regional action, that was a shocker. Heck of a season by the Citadel, and credit to the Citadel fans who told us all season, put us in your rankings, put us in your rankings, and we never did until last week of the season. And hand up, we were
Very
wrong. Reed,
wrong.
this was a very good team. Not the most offensive juggernaut, but the pitching was always there with Buffkin and Holmes, and they just got hot at the right time, didn't turn into an offensive juggernaut once the SoCon tournament started. I think they scored 14 runs on Mercer, which was a big,
Yeah.
big shocker. But heck of a season for the Bulldogs going down into the Atlanta Regional, winning a game. No matter who you win a game against in a regional, it's always big, and winning in a walk off fashion, it's got to be great for your program.
Yeah, awesome season for Citadel. The run they went on here the past week and a half or 2 weeks was really cool. And like you said, I mean, it was just an absolute brutal result that they got. I'll touch on the rest of the regional here in a second, but I really enjoyed watching Citadel here all season. They played the brutal non-conference schedule to start the season too, and really battle tested them. And I think that played a huge dividend in them which propelled them to be able to get to the NCAA tournament. Winning 5 games in the SoCon tournament to get here, and then being able to win a game in the Atlanta regional. So yeah, I think the future is bright for the Citadel program for their first. I think that was their first regional in 16 years too, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's his second year head coach too as well. Um,
Yeah.
don't I need to know his name, but second year head coach, so good for them. And then Reed, Oklahoma beating Georgia Tech twice. I mean, and then the walk off to dead center to the batter's eye to dead center, walk off home run. It doesn't get any better than that, Reed.
I'm still stunned sitting here. I still have not processed that Georgia Tech is out of the tournament. I cannot believe it. Um, you know, After what they did to Oklahoma on Saturday too, and you mentioned Friday, and then certainly on Sunday. I think people are forgetting about Sunday. They quickly went up like 8-2 in that game. I think I tapped you too after Lackey hit a ball 5,000 feet to the moon. And I was like, well, they're unstoppable. They're going to Omaha. It's going to be a great game against Georgia. And, they blew that game too. And I was sitting myself, I was like, there is no way Georgia Tech is going to lose to Oklahoma again too. Kind of reminded me like last year UNC had Oklahoma in the regional, lost the Sunday night game, and then they came out the next day on Monday and just absolutely blitzed them. I thought we were going to get that too. Oklahoma got off to the quick start, and then the Georgia Tech lineup just flipped on like it can anytime it wanted all season too. And they had another big lead there, 7-3. Mason Patel was sensational for them too. I think he threw 100 pitches out of the bullpen, his most on the season. And then Oklahoma mounted a furious comeback there. Georgia Tech brought in Tate McGee there to try to get the save there in the ninth, and he failed. And then Dayton Taki. I mean, has that ball landed yet, Casey?
No, it is. No, it's not. That
Um,
that was, and then what was crazy was seeing no one on the field move. The
yeah,
infield didn't move. Drew Burst didn't move in center. They
yeah.
knew
I
it. They
saw
knew
I
it. They
saw a
knew it.
picture that they were like on the field for an hour straight. Just there was like pictures of players just like laying in the grass still an hour after the game. I think it's one of the biggest upsets. I know Oklahoma was the 2 seeds, but I think it is one of the biggest upsets in NCAA tournament history. Just looking at this Georgia Tech team, what they've did all season long too, the talent. I mean, I still can't believe it. I'm in shock that
So
Georgia
what's
Tech will not be playing this weekend.
so what's the number two upset? St. Mary's? Is that the one?
It's. I'm not saying that the Oklahoma one's the biggest one of all time, but it has to be up there. Just the
Absolutely.
talent Georgia Tech has and everything like that. I mean,
So
now
that's
looking at it,
so was that 2 years straight?
yeah, last
Yeah,
year, Vandy was the number one overall seed and Texas was the two. But looking back at last year, the number one and two overall seeds, they don't even come close to
I
what we
agree.
had this year in
I
UCLA
I,
and Georgia
I
Tech
yeah,
just
I
being
agree.
dominant. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, those were still huge upsets last year, but
yeah,
I mean, I had UCLA and Georgia Tech to the national title, and they're
yeah,
gone.
yeah.
I can't. I'm still trying to process it. I mean, that's why college baseball is the absolute best. You know, NIL is taken away that in college football and college basketball. It appears now. That's why college baseball is so awesome. The parity, the upsets are there. I mean, look what happened this week. I mean, that was absolute history this weekend.
Speaking of trying to process Tallahassee regional, St. John's wins that regional, and Coastal Carolina goes 0-2. And Kevin Schnall was very vocal about the logistics of this regional and the rain and everything. And I mean, I get it, but I mean, this is why you have a good regular season so you can host, so you can be at home, comfortable in your own bed, your own facilities. I hear it, and Reed just nothing looked right this weekend for Coastal on the plate, on the mound, in the dugout, and there's now a max exodus of guys leaving their team. I mean, the Schnall rumors are heating up. Matt Williams may follow him. I mean, Reed, it's just not
Yeah.
looking pretty right now for the people and our friends in Conway.
No, it's quite unfortunate. It's a real shame how their season ended here. The past 3 weeks or past 3 or 4 weeks, what went down. Just a few weeks ago, we're sitting here talking about them after they dominated Carolina on that top 10 matchup on a Tuesday night, right near the end of the regular season, and then after that, I mean, they just fell off a cliff. But my thoughts from Tallahassee this weekend. I thought Schnall made some really interesting choices. I was really questioning why he went with Ross Norman starting that game on Friday against Northern Illinois. I would have figured that he would have went with Luke Jones, and then to have Fluky there for the 1-0 game. But I mean, yeah, Coastal was up in that game against Northern Illinois, and then they just forgot how to throw strikes. Northern Illinois had that huge inning to take control of that game. And then, obviously Florida State got upset by St. John's. So then we had Wes Mendez and Cam Fluky in the 0-1 game elimination at noon, giving flashbacks of Chase Burns and Trey Savage. And unfortunately, it was cut short because of the rain. So we didn't get a full duel. I think they only went like 3 1/3 before the rain. I mean, huge rain delays down there all weekend. And then the game resumed, and I think I think it was 1-1 when the game was tied when they went into that
Yes.
final weather delay, and then FSU took the lead, and then or maybe it was 2-1 when they delayed it for the rest of the night. I can't remember off the top of my head, but at Coastal, the offense was flat. that whole game against Florida State. I think they had 3 hits. But yeah, now all eyes are on what Schnall is going to do. We touched on it a little bit. Yeah, Thorndike enters the portal too. You wonder if he like knows something. I'm sure he's just entering after the terrible season he had. But yeah, Fluky declares for the draft as expected today. But yeah, all eyes will be on what he will do. This could be a very huge next few weeks for the Chants.
Yeah, it's a real crazy one, Reed. Just think about it, Reed. Just what a difference a year can make. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty wild. Just a year ago today, they were, I mean, on the way to Auburn to play
Yep.
Super Regional, win that regional. Um, the one off topic, but watching that Auburn Coastal Regional, I mean, just the glove on Blake Barthel. I mean, I'm gonna miss him. I mean, I'm gonna miss some of those guys on that Coastal team that have been there forever.
Yeah.
I mean, Blake Barthel was just a Coastal guy through and through. Just guys like him, Dean Mijos. But we will monitor that coastal situation at Carolina Curveball. So be sure to just follow us, and we will keep you posted on that. And
Yeah. Coastal's, I'll just add coastal season, like you could say about state, like you could say about ECO. I think it's just a big what if, with everything they had returning to losing in the national title last year, all the pitching that was coming back to, and it was cut short too. Just derailed with injuries. They really righted the ship too. And then we thought with Fluky coming back at the end of the season, they were inbound for another Omaha push, and it was not the case.
it was not the case indeed. And speaking of making a push, Reed, Upstate to close their season. At one point, Reed, we said on the show they were 8 games under 500, question marks. Not sure if they were going to make the Big South tournament. They win it, and then they go beat Oklahoma State in the first game, and they jump on them 3-0 in the first, and then they jump on them 4-0, and then Oklahoma State ties it in the second, and you're like, oh boy. And then Upstate scores 2 runs, 1 run in the third, 1 run in the fourth, and Reed just an absolute display from Brent Stooks. 5 innings, 5 hits, five earned runs, six Ks. Jacob Kirby comes in, 1 inning, 2 hits, no runs, 2 Ks, and then Max Bianchini, 3 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned, 2 Ks to end the game. But Reed, just what a game there by the Spartans. They do, however, fall to Alabama 7-5 on Saturday night. And Reed, that was
They had a chance there in the bottom of the
they
or in the ninth.
they did have a chance because
They had
was
the right at the plate. Armsy flew out to like
they
the
had,
warning track.
and a note on that game, Reed. One of the more bizarre games you'll ever see because no earned runs by Alabama, and
Yeah.
Upstate scored 5 runs because there were 6 errors by Alabama. So
Yeah.
a real unicorn game there. But Reed, hell of a season there by the Upstate Spartans. Their season unfortunately ended when they played Oklahoma State again. They lost 12-1. But Reed, nonetheless, from 8 games under 500 to probably not making the Big South tournament to beating Oklahoma State to open a regional and then pushing
Their
Alabama to the brink in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that was their first ever tournament win too, I believe, if
Yes,
I'm correct there.
I think
Yeah,
so.
which we
Yeah,
had. Yeah, because they didn't win one last year, did they? They played Clemson tough.
yeah.
Did they lose? I think they lost in that elimination. Yeah, because I think it was Kentucky that beat them in the elimination game last year. But yeah, hats off. Hell of a season for Upstate. Where they were just a month ago, 19-27. And to be able to right the ship there and win the Big South tournament too, for the second year in a row. And then, being 10 feet, 10 feet further, if that ball is 10 feet further, Upstate starts that regional 2-0. We might be having a different discussion. But yeah, I mean, nothing to hang their hat on. hell of a season. The future is so bright for Upstate.
Absolutely. And Reed, that will do it for the Carolinas regionals. Reed, we're at 45. Let's not go through each one in depth. Let's just touch on the ones that we haven't touched on that we want to touch on.
Okay.
Reed, let's start with I say we touch on UCLA, Reed. I mean, that was
Yeah,
just
just
unbelievable stunner.
yeah,
Shocking. And Reed, it was a pleasure sitting there watching it with you at the Bosch. It was absolutely crazy.
yeah,
Uh, and Reed, the one that I think I said it on our show, or I said it to you. I know I said it to Philip and Steven that when Southern Miss hosts a regional, they do not get out of it. They do
yeah.
not get
Remind
out.
me never. I thought this was the year that they exercised their demons. Never again will I pick them. I thought this team was different. I was big on them most of the season too. 0 and 2. Yeah, hit up Braxton for the winning lottery ticket numbers.
Yeah, Braxton had his one was Upstate winning the regional was the one fall, but he did win. They did win their first game, which was looking good. He had UCLA dropping their first game. They did, and then he had Southern Miss going 0-2, and he was getting attacked on our Twitter
Yeah,
by Southern Miss fans.
and he had
But
two. He had two top 8 seeds going out too.
correct, yes, he did. And Reed, shout out Little Rock. I mean, they swept the regional. I mean, they beat Southern Miss and beat Jacksonville State twice. They didn't have to play Virginia. And Reed just, I mean, Virginia. I mean, I don't know what to make of Virginia. Granted, it's first year of the Chris Pollard era there, but I mean, I don't really know what to think of Virginia because 1 second they score 15 runs, the next second, I mean, it's like batting practice.
Yeah, the wheels absolutely fell off on Virginia the last month. They were still the only team to give UNC a conference loss. Actually, Carolina's only series loss of the season. But yeah, Virginia did not have the pitching this weekend too, and I saw a ton of guys have already entered the portal too for Virginia. So it'll certainly. Be an interesting offseason for Pollard and co. Definitely some headaches in year one for him.
Yeah, definitely some
But
headaches, but I mean, coach like
shout
that,
out
right?
Little Rock though.
Yeah, shout out for real.
After what they did last year too, I think didn't they have a losing record too, or they were I think one of the lowest 4 seeds in the field last year, and obviously we all know they took Ellis. They were the only team um, during the tournament last year to beat LSU, and took them all the way to Monday too, and had LSU fighting for their life in that Monday night game. And then they come back the following year here and are going to their first ever super regional. What a story!
I agree. And guess who they're going to face in that super regional? Troy. Troy
30 lost
takes
Troy.
30 loss. Troy takes the Gainesville regional. Huge. And Reed, how sick do you think Kevin O'Sullivan is? Another year losing to a group of 5 school that just puts a smile on my face, whether it's the American or whether it's Troy. Suck it, Kevin O'Sullivan. I'm glad you lost. Suffer. And shout out Troy for having to win 4 games straight to get out of
Yeah,
this regional. I mean, holy cow. I mean, they get walloped by Miami 10-5, and then beat Ryder 15-7, beat Miami 9-6, then beat Florida 16-11, and then really handle Florida again and beat them 10 to
yeah, they
2 to
crushed them.
face Little Rock to go to Omaha. Troy or Little Rock will be in Omaha, Reed Tobin. How about that?
It is absolutely nuts. But do you think O'Sullivan was crying to school officials about the setup and everything like that, like he was last year?
He probably was, yes. And newsflash, buddy, you played a home regional and you lost it
Yeah,
to Troy, so there's no excuses now. And Parker Bird is not
being
there
2-0
bringing in
too.
whiteboard.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Uh, but yeah, no, Troy, I mean, they were so fun to watch this weekend. obviously they were one of the last four teams in, and they lose that opening game to Miami, and if you lose your opening game, chances to advance to a super regional. I touched on only like 7% of teams have ever did that, and they absolutely just mashed their way through the rest of that Gainesville regional. Janenke, their catcher, he is a stud. I think he's got like 90 RBIs on the season. Um, I mean, that is going to be 30 loss Troy. I'm still having a hard time processing this as well. Is hosting a super regional. Troy or Little Rock is going to Omaha. Both teams in their first ever super regional. Both teams in search of their first ever Omaha appearance. One of those clubs will be in Omaha next weekend, which is why college baseball is the best.
Absolutely, Reed Tillman. And Reed, let's get a little bit of an opponent preview here in a College Station regional. The regional maxed up with North Carolina. A&M falls to Southern California, and Reed, USC loses their first game to Texas State and drops down to the losers bracket, beats the ever loving shit out of Lamar 19-6, and then works their way back up, beats Texas State 15-4. A&M beats Texas State 17-2 to meet them in the championship, and USC beats them 14-3 and then 7-1. And Reed, do they go back home or they just go straight from College Station?
No, I saw they landed in Chapel Hill today. They flew in
Wow.
straight from College Station.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, the people in charge of the laundry, yeah, they've got their work cut out for them. But I mean, yeah, another team, USC, loses in heartbreaking fashion to Texas State. They were up that game and then blew it there at the end too. I think it was a walk off that they lost on. Don't quote me though. But yeah, then USC, they've been all right offensively most of the season and really relied on their strong pitching. They saved Mason. They pitched off on Friday. That was another one of our big topics we talked on last week. They pitched off and it did not work in their favor as they saved Mason Edwards, who's probably the best pitcher in the country. I mean, his numbers, if you haven't seen his numbers, go look at them. Leads the country in strikeouts, hasn't lost a game, sub 1.5 ERA. But then, after losing that game, they absolutely just mashed. I think they scored 52 runs the next, something like that, the next 4 games. And I mean, they destroyed A&M both games too. It's going to be a fun super regional next week. If you like good pitching, you're in for a treat next weekend in Chapel Hill.
Absolutely, Reed, and me and you hope to be there. I will not make it Friday, but I will be there Saturday, and hopefully, Reed, hopefully Sunday it will be a winner.
Let's hope not for that.
I do because I want to see a lot of baseball.
Fair enough.
Reed, quickly the Lincoln Regional. Ole Miss sweeps this regional. Reed, Nebraska Ole Miss. Me and Steven were watching it. What was it, Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah.
Every time I looked up, Ole Miss had the bases loaded, and Nebraska was just throwing balls in the dirt, walking guys. Ole Miss, I think, walked 2 guys in or something in a row. But Reed, I hated to say it, but I think just Nebraska, first time hosting a regional in a while, program like Ole Miss won the national title 4 years ago. Didn't know if the moment would be too big. Not sitting here saying it was, but then if you're the host, you can't lose Sunday morning.
Yeah, it was a brutal draw for Nebraska. I mean, look at Arizona State was their 3 seed. I mean, they were criminally underseeded, but I mean, yeah, that was a loaded regional. I'll give my credit to Ole Miss for getting through that 3-0. All those games though were very entertaining all weekend. I was up till I think that Friday night game between Arizona State and Kentucky. I think it went till 2:30 in the morning. It went to like the 14th inning, I believe. And then on Sunday they went to extra innings again too, with Ole Miss on top. And did you see Landon Harrison? He get ejected too. He
I did
missed that
not.
Sunday game. Yeah, against Nebraska in that elimination game on Sunday, he struck out and just flipped his bat like 20 feet in the air, and they tossed him. And if for those of you that don't know who Landon Harrison is, he probably is going to win the Golden Spikes Award, or a very damn good chance he is. Um, but yeah, he did not play in that game Sunday night, and Ole Miss walked him off again in extras.
I know who that is. He's on my diamond team. I pulled him and Liam Peterson in the same pack.
No, you're thinking of Mason Edwards.
Mason Edwards, sorry, my fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ole Miss will now face Auburn SEC matchup. Reed, another one who I said too, the moment might be too big is Kansas, and they sweep their regional. Reed, super good for Kansas. I'm glad they eliminated Arkansas. And Reed, disappointing from Missouri State was touted as one of the better twos, and
They were a 3.
Well, correct. They were a 3, but
yeah.
In projections, people thought they would be a 2, especially when projections started coming out. And just disappointing from them going 0-2. But granted, you face Arkansas, but I was shocked at the Northeastern beating them 5-1.
Yeah, I mean Northeastern nearly knocked off Arkansas there too, in that losers bracket game too. But yeah, credit to Kansas too. I mean, they've been great all season long. That atmosphere, I mean, boy, was that awesome. Just the crowd going crazy the whole game. And to see Arkansas go out, I don't think didn't hurt too many people's feelings. And yeah, with Georgia Tech getting upset, Kansas will be hosting a super regional this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, that is absolutely
against Oklahoma.
Wild.
Yeah.
And then we touched on St. John's and Alabama. Texas, Reed. I mean, Texas, not the best draw, and then they avoid. Was it Flora?
Flora. Yeah.
So just Reed. Do you have much to say about this one?
Another pitch off decision that did not play in a team's factor, and it was Texas. Santa Barbara did give Texas a game there on Sunday night, but they killed Tarleton State. But like we said, it was a very, very favorable draw for Texas, and especially not having to face Florida. It's no given that they're in supers next weekend.
Correct. 100% agree. And Reed, the Pac-12 regional. Also, Reed, I didn't say it, Reed. UNC hosting 2 former Pac-12 teams in 2 regionals back-to-back.
Yeah, let's hope it's not a repeat of last year.
Yeah, that was some crazy shit. But Reed, Oregon sweeps that regional, take care of business. Yale face Oregon State in the championship final, win 4-1. It's hard to watch baseball in Oregon's fields. It's so
I agree.
It's just, goodness gracious, the colors, the contrast is just ridiculous. Got anything on Oregon, Tobin?
The pitching for Oregon, it was sensational all weekend. They gave up 3 total runs all weekend. I think that matchup, we'll have more on it, I believe, Thursday when we do our super regional preview. But that's going to be a really fun matchup, I think, against Texas.
I 100% agree. And then Reed, Mississippi State, I will say, Reed, of all the regionals, this is probably the one I watched the least of. The Starkville regional, Reed. Mississippi State sweeps this regional, honestly, handily, winning their games 10-1, 10-5, 19-5 over Louisiana. Reed, you got anything on Starkville?
Yeah, they made easy work too. I thought they were given one of the easier regionals on paper, but you got to give them credit too. They had really been struggling over the past month too. Losing, I think it was like 4 out of their last 5 SEC series coming in to this weekend. Mississippi State was able to right the ship with an offensive explosion this weekend. And boy, what a matchup it's going to be next weekend against Georgia.
And touch on Georgia, Reed.
It was certainly interesting. Well, first, it was just the home run derby.
Home
Um,
run derby, and all the Georgia fans defending Trey Phelps. I mean,
yeah, I mean
let's
that
be
was
clear.
ridiculous.
I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, have some class, kid. I mean, goodness.
Celebrate with
I
your
mean,
teammates. I mean,
good. I mean, go
I
ahead.
don't mind a bat toss
Me neither.
after a home run or anything, but what he did after that was just to the next level. Just mouthing it off to Liberty and showboating and whatever he was saying, and
It's
then
just
Wes Johnson
it's
gets ejected there too.
it's just and Reed. I'm not a boomer. I like celebrations. I like having the swagger, but do it with your own team. I mean, just
Right,
have some. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a dad and say have good sportsmanship, but I mean, there's just no place for that. I mean, there's just
right.
no place for that. And I mean, look what you did. You costed your team. Granted, at the end of the day, you did not cost your team. Your team swept the regional, but I mean, do that in Omaha if you get
Yeah,
there and see what
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
And see what
And
happens.
to that point, I think he's now suspended for the first game against Mississippi State too. Trey
Good.
Phelps and Wes Johnson
Wes
too.
Johnson.
I believe they. I don't. I believe that's what will happen because they didn't have to go to Monday.
I
I
did
would certainly
see
think so.
I did see that
We'll
Trey
see.
Phelps and I did see Trey Phelps made his way to Atlanta to watch Georgia Tech Blue
I
Coat
did. I
Oklahoma.
did. I think who was it? One of his teammates has a sibling on Oklahoma.
Okay. Okay.
Um, what's
Um but yeah, as Reed's roommate is Lau from the Stanley Cup Hurricanes. Reed, I got this. But yeah, just Georgia was just I mean, not the best display there of sportsmanship. I mean there's just no place for that in the game. But Reed, we have said it all year. We got two SEC regionals. Um, Good that two teams will be eliminated, but there's also a possibility that there will be two SEC teams confirmed in Omaha. That is the most that is possible in Omaha. But
What'd you say? Five most, or yeah, five. I think is the most
yeah,
they can get
five
in
is the
Omaha.
most, two is the least.
Yeah, let's hope it's two. I did confirm. Yeah, Trey Phelps is suspended for game one.
Wow.
I'm not
Wow.
sure if that's the case for Wes Johnson.
And Reed, I also want to touch and Reed. Yeah, I heard you about Wes Johnson, but when you're able to come back, Reed, UNC holding the torch for the ACC. I mean, that's a bit of a shock. I mean, UNC, the only ACC team left. I mean, is a bit shocking considering what was it? How many years ago? Where it was 4-4 in Omaha, four ACC, four
Yeah,
SEC. So I mean,
yeah,
just kind of shock there to me.
yeah. An absolute dismal weekend for the ACC. I think that was one of the more shocking parts of this weekend. Obviously, you've got the history with two four seeds getting to the super regional for this at the same time for the first time ever, and with Georgia Tech and UCLA getting upset. But I mean, the ACC one team standing in the super regional. I guess, yeah. I mean, you can say it now. Yeah, the ACC was very overrated this year. Obviously, Georgia Tech could have won it all and everything like that. Carolina's got a good chance to win it all. Florida State with Miles Bailey, that injury, definitely played a factor in them. But other than those teams, yeah, injuries played a factor to NC State and everything, but other than that, just a lot of these ACC teams were mediocre at best. So yeah, let's hope the ACC gets back to its best next year, because they're kind of the laughing stock right now across college baseball.
It is quite something, Reed, considering there's there's two big. If you would have told me before the season there'd be more Big 12 teams left than ACC teams, I would be absolutely shocked. I would say that's just not possible. But I mean, good for West Virginia, good for Kansas, the 16 and 15 seed hosting super regionals, which I think is pretty sick.
Yeah, I think it's just a testament. I think the committee absolutely undervalued the Big 12. They were all underseeded, in my opinion, too. Like Arizona State being a 3 seed, too, for example, TCU getting left out, too, and then, Kansas and West Virginia being the 15 and 16 seed. I think it's a testament to the committee sleeping on the Big 12. Last year, obviously, they didn't have a host, but they have responded in a big way this year. And we'll touch on the previews, but something tells me I think the Big 12 might be having two teams in Omaha.
It is certainly possible, and I think that would be pretty sweet. I think that seeing Kansas and Omaha would be pretty cool. Reed, but you touched on it. We're not going to get into super regional previews tonight because we will have a show for you on Thursday. Reed, hopefully you go to a local library or a local place somewhere else because the Canes will be playing again on Thursday. So you will not hear your roommate Avery, which is disappointing. Hopefully he has some respect next time. Quite disappointing, but it is what it is, I guess. But Reed, I think this will honestly do it. We will preview on Thursday night. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Reed, anything else before we sign off?
No, looking forward. What a weekend it was. Can't wait for Supers. This weekend we'll get it started Thursday night with our preview show, and then West Virginia and Cal Poly kick it off at noon on Friday.
Reed, what are your thoughts on Carolina's times?
What was that?
What was your thoughts on Carolina's super regional times?
Oh, not a fan. Get ready to bake in the sun.
I'm shocked by the times considering they're playing USC. I thought they'd be a little later for them. I am
Well,
by that.
yeah, well, I thought that too last year when they had a West Coast team in Arizona, and they had.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. I thought, Avery is annoying. Yeah, I agree. I didn't think they would be playing that early in the. I wouldn't think they would be playing that early in the afternoon either. But Reed, we're going to sign off real quick. Reed, you don't have to say anything else. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the interruptions by Reed's roommate Avery watching the Canes game. We will see you on Thursday night.